All right, so I've been posting up on my Instagram and on my YouTube asking you guys what you want to see more from me, what I can help you with, and I'm going to grab a couple of popular questions every week and answer them for you. So today we're going to answer a popular question that I get asked on a daily basis. Arash, how do I structure my split? How many days should I train? How many days should I rest? Should I hit a muscle once, twice, 3 times a week? And how do you improve a lagging body part? So Don and I have been doing a 5-day split, right?
We've been doing a traditional, like old school bodybuilding split, but we were also, I was prepping and, you know, I think we decided we were trying to tax the body, we were also trying to give enough recovery because a lot of the muscle groups we work, like when we're deadlifting, there's carryover there. We're hitting other muscle groups. So I think it was a good approach. It was a smart approach, but now I think it's time to transition for the both of us.
Yeah, so we did chest alone. Actually, the order was chest,
arms. And the only reason why we did arm day on Tuesday was because I play ice hockey and I had a hockey game every Tuesday morning at 6:30. So we were being nice and throwing in an isolation day. So chest Monday, arms Tuesday, back Wednesday, shoulders Thursday, legs Friday.
Yeah, and so we did a 5-day split, 2 days off. I don't recommend taking 2 days off in a row and training 5 days in a row. We did that for the past couple weeks.
Abs, calves, and cardio was Saturday.
On Saturday. We were training like that because of our schedule, right? We had a really, really difficult schedule, the both of us. He's business, family, he's got 2 kids, so we were working around each other's schedule, and that's what we did. I recommend training no more than 3, maximum 4 days in a row and take a rest day. Now, how much rest and how often and how to make your split, before we get into it, we're gonna give you enough information for you guys to create your own split. But before we get into it, it is all relevant to how hard you guys train, how well you're eating, if you're in a deficit or a surplus, and how much you're sleeping. So, can you train a muscle 2-3 times a week? Yeah, you can train a muscle every day. Pro athletes, wrestlers, UFC fighters, baseball, basketball players, gymnasts, they train their whole body. They train the same muscles every day, but they don't annihilate them the way we annihilated legs today. If you're gonna train hard and annihilate one muscle for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, you cannot train that muscle 2-3 days a week. You might be able to train it twice in an 8 to 10 day period. But if you kill a muscle, it's gonna take you 4 or 5 days to recover. So I tell people, if you're able to train at 100% or close to 100%, you need a lot of rest. Be honest with yourself. If you're bullshitting and you're on your phone between sets and you're not really killing yourself, yeah, you can train a couple days a week. So we're gonna change our routine, and we'll get into that in a second, but what do you think about that whole?
No, I think it's smart. I mean, even looking at our 5 straight days, we had, when I say easier muscle groups to train, I mean less taxing. Naturally, legs for us is gonna be very taxing, right? If you're doing back, if we're doing our pulling and we're deadlifting, that's gonna be very taxing. You know, something like arms, it's less, in my opinion, it's less taxing on the nervous system. Even though our intensity is high, we're really doing all isolation movements, and it's not multi-joint movements. So it's requiring kind of less of our system, less of our entire body to have to engage. So after an arm day, as hard as we hit it, it's almost a little bit easier to where we can come back for a big pull day like back on Wednesday and be able to attack it. So I agree with Arash 100%. I know with the way that we train, if we go beyond that 3 straight days, you're still coming into the gym and we can will our way through it, but you're still missing that 1 like decibel. You know what I'm saying? You might be coming in like, all right, I'm a little tired. What's going on? Why? And you're like, well, I just trained 3 or 4 straight days in a row. That might be a great opportunity for us to do some steady state cardio, some abs, calves cardio, some mobility work, see how we feel. If we're feeling like complete crap, maybe taking a day off completely and recharging so we can come back in on that 5th day and put our foot on the gas. Arash and I's main objective is to come into the gym feeling great. If we come into the gym feeling great, we know our nutrition's good, our sleep's good, and we know that our split and our stressors in our life are going the way that we want them to go.
But listen to what he just said. Like, you guys have to pay attention to how you feel, you know? Like, can we train every day? Can I train for 3 hours? Yeah, absolutely. You know, that whole mentality of more is better and no pain, no gain, it's bullshit. You know, Navy SEALs will train themselves physically into the ground. And it's not because they're trying to get bigger and stronger. They're trying to train their mental strength, okay? So they become very, very mentally strong, but they deteriorate their bodies. If we are trying to get as big as possible, if you were trying to bodybuild and grow the most in the shortest period of time, recovery, recovery, recovery. If you guys are training at 90 to 100%, 6 days a week is too much. You know, when Dorian Yates came out and told people how many days he was training, how many sets and reps he was doing, and how short his workouts are, people said he was lying. Right. They didn't believe it. But go and watch Dorian Blood and Guts, go watch him train, and don't tell me, tell yourself, am I training at even 50% of this freaking animal? This guy was training every set like his life depended on it. You know, so how hard you train is really relative. Now, to go back to the training split, we're doing 5 days. Our whole body's getting hit in 5 days. We're taking 2 days off. Ideally, 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, or 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off. Now, your split doesn't have to fall Monday chest, Tuesday arms, Wednesday back, and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter what day of the week you're training. You know, Don uses the phrase, and I love it, revolving door. You just do your split, do your rest days, and you start again. So maybe every Monday you're training a different body part. You just got to remember what you're training. The human body doesn't go by a 7-day work week, so that's irrelevant. I've done 8-day splits. I've done 4-day splits. So moving forward, we've been thinking about this. We can decide right now if you're down.
Yeah, that's it.
Our day is 5 days. We can shorten our split by putting arms, bis with chest, tris with shoulders, and shortening our split and starting the week earlier. So maybe we're not training each muscle twice in the week, but we'll train everything 3 times in 2 weeks. I like the idea of that. So throughout the year, you get an extra workout. Another thing that I wanted to run by you, because we both want to really grow our legs, and when we kill our quads, our hamstrings, you know, kind of take a back seat. At the end of the workout, you're tired, splitting the days up. So maybe putting bis with chest, tris with shoulders, so now our split is 4, but adding an extra day of legs. Now, adding an extra day of legs, hardest workout of the week, biggest muscle of the body. Can we really train legs twice in a week? It's not the same workout. So one day would be ham dominant with a little bit of quads. The other day would be quad dominant with a little bit of ham. And when I say a little bit, usually I'll do like blood force restriction, where you use bands, body weight stuff, or really high rep stuff. It's not something that's gonna annihilate my quad after my hams. It's something where I'm gonna stimulate and bring blood to the muscle and help recover and get ready for the next workout.
Or we can even, you and I have been also talking about throwing in some unilateral work. So you may even wanna throw in like that rear foot elevated on hamstring day towards the end. So almost like
that thing is a fucking killer.
Yeah, it's a killer, but it's, I don't know, I feel like our body is, I mean, my main objective, it's funny because you're bringing something really important to the table for me, and I believe I'm bringing something important to the table for you. You know, I want the body resilient. I want the body strong. I don't want the body breaking down, just like you don't either. On the other hand, sometimes I might get too carried away with the unilateral work to where I'm not stimulating my quads the way I need to stimulate them. So I think it's nice as we do a little carryover and we touch upon those things. And I think that's, guys, there's a difference between training and working out. Any fool can go work out, break a sweat, get a muscle pump. Training is when there's purpose. Training is individualistic. So we're gonna let's put together something right now that is a training program that we feel that we're gonna be successful with, and we'll have to adjust it.
Do you like the idea of hitting the legs twice? Another thing I don't like to do, guys, and I don't recommend you guys doing like back and quads back to back. Like, don't put the biggest muscles right next to each other. So I have a split that I'd written down, something for us to take a look at.
Yep. Now, just a reminder, as Arash is looking for that, every single workout for us is going to start with 10 to 15 minutes of mobility or practice. So we're going to get on the foam roller, we're going to spend 5 minutes, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to have some variability. So every day we're going to be focusing on the hips, thoracic extension, thoracic rotation, shoulder external rotation, overall core stability, just things that are really important that are gonna prime and groove us and allow us the best opportunity to be successful during our training session. So,
okay, so one option would be, and this actually happens to fall in the 7-day split, which again, doesn't matter. It'd be quads and hams, chest and bis, rest. Back and traps, hamstrings and quads, shoulders and tris, rest. So if you do the math, after quads and hams, you get 1, 2, 3 days, and then you hit.
Give that to me again. Quads. Can you read that one more time?
So the only body part that's really getting hit twice is the lower body, the legs. And we want to keep them 2 to 3 days apart. You don't want to be doing it like so close together. So after quads and hams, you have 3 days till you hit hams and quads again. But after hams and quads, you only have 2 days till you hit quads and hams. You know what I mean?
I like it.
Yeah.
So that's option one.
I've done this before.
I like that. So that's option one. And what would be option two?
That's option one. I have an 8-day split, which is a complete different animal.
Throw it out there. Let's
the
see it.
8-day split that I created, this was for after 2019 Olympia. I wanted to focus on my lower body and my lower back. So I had a lower back day where it was like deadlifting and focusing on lower lats.
I love that.
Traps and rear delts. Day 2 was chest and shoulders, which I actually don't love. I don't love doing chest and shoulders.
We can work that.
Day 3 was hams and quads. Day 4, rest. Day 5 was upper back. Day 6 was arms. Day 7 with quads and hams. And day 8, rest. But see, the chest.
I don't like the chest and shoulders, but you can always work that. I mean, you could take your arm day.
Exactly.
You could take, so we would take like maybe tries, or like it depends. Do you want buys with chest?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do buys with chest, and then we could do shoulders.
So that 8-day split, I have a few other 8-day splits where I'm hitting every muscle twice, except for arms. But I'm not hitting as much volume. So
Low back deadlift, did you say that?
Yeah. So you guys got to keep in mind, like if you have a weak body part, can you hit it more often? Will it benefit you? Yes and no. More work and more stimulation will create more muscle growth. But if you're doing a full, let's say your chest is your weak point, and you're doing a full all-out chest workout twice a week, if anything, you're more likely to deplete that muscle and steal it from nutrients and recovery time, especially if you guys are in a deficit and you're dieting. So you guys really, I can't answer that for you. You really have to think about this. If you're in your off season, you're trying to grow, can you hit something more often? If you're resting a lot, you're in a caloric surplus, absolutely. After the 2000, I think it was 19 or 18 Olympia, what I did was I just didn't go back to conventional training. I didn't need to gain an ounce of muscle in my chest, my shoulders, and even my arms. So what I focused on was back and quads. I hit back and quads twice in a 7-8 day period, and I just trained my whole upper body like in a day, 1 or 2 days here and there. I didn't put most of the focus. So if you guys are training every single muscle to 100%, the nutrients are going to get spread across your body. Whereas if you're focusing mainly on one muscle, if you're focusing for the week on back or on legs, you take your rest and your high carb days or refeeds around those body parts, you're more likely going to grow. You're more likely to recover faster. So where's your head at with the split? I kind of like the split for us where we're just hitting similar to what we were training, but hitting legs twice.
Yeah, quad hams, chest by, rest, back traps, hams, quads, shoulders, tries, rest. I'm wondering if even back and traps, back to back with hams and quads. I don't know, maybe should you do back and traps and then shoulders, tries, and then hams and quads? Oh no, because then it's back end to there. Yeah, it's too. You're not having, you're getting 2 days rest before you're doing it again. No,
so what I did was I put hams after back, but not hams before back, because when I originally wrote that split, I had hams and quads and then back. And what happened was when I started deadlifting, I was annihilated because my hams were so shot. But I realized when I do back, the next day if I come to do hams and I do stiff leggeds or something, I'm fine. But I don't do stiff leggeds when I do deadlifts. I don't do them back to back. That split actually worked well for me. We can try that next week and see if we like it.
Sure, but we're not going to do quads on Monday.
It won't be Monday, it could be any day we want. But for you guys choosing your split, decide how much you're resting, how much you're eating. Take a rest day after the muscle you want to grow. I do it after legs because it's taxing and I also want to grow. Think about it, if you guys train your legs and you want them to grow, the next day, if you're resting, all the food you're eating that day is gonna go to your legs. The majority of the food is gonna go to your legs. If you guys train legs and then you come in and you crush back or just train crazy amount of shoulders or buys, well, it's gonna take away from your recovery with legs. So I would position my rest days after my biggest muscles or my weakest body parts. If you're gonna do a high day, if you're gonna do a refeed in your diet, position that on your weaker body parts as well so they get more nutrients and they can grow. But be careful with trying to hit something because it's weak more often. And that brings me to the next point of arms and calves, right? So how often should you train calves? How often should you train arms? We're gonna do a whole separate video on just calf training, but there's 2 schools of thought. It's like, they're small muscles, you can hit them more often, you definitely can, but if they're small muscle and they're getting hit so often, calves get hit when you do cardio, calves get hit when you walk around, arms get hit on all presses and all pulling movements, why do them more? I believe in training them hard and intense with lower volume. I do not believe in high volume training for arms. I've done it, I've tried it. My arms grew the biggest when I did the least amount. And when I say least amount, I'm talking about arms once a week with 3 exercises for bis, 3 for tris. I don't think you guys realize how much stimulation your biceps get when you do a lat pull down. It's much more than you think. What are your thoughts on that? Arms and calves.
Training arms and calves, listen.
Not training them together, but like guys are like, I want my calves to grow, so I'll hit them every single day.
Yeah, I still wouldn't hit them every single day. Listen, I don't have great calves. I have pretty good arms. So yeah, I think if I do one individual arm day, I really don't need to double up in a week because I am getting a lot from my pulling and my pressing. Remember, when you're doing shoulders, when you're doing your horizontal pressing work, like your chest, you're working your triceps. When you're doing all your vertical or horizontal pulling, you're getting your biceps. Then you're hitting your arms again. So you're already doubling up on that. So I think hitting arms once in a week is fine. I also, going in the other direction, I know I come from the strength and conditioning world, so a lot of coaches are like, oh, well, you don't need to train arms because of all the pushing and pulling. With some of my female clients, I will not isolate arms with because they're getting enough direct arm work. But I've also seen athletes who've developed really sore elbows, and as they start doing some light flexion and extension out of that elbow joint, they're removing a lot of waste from that area, okay, and they're getting some circulation in there. It's actually causing them to feel a little bit healthier and allow their bodies to be a little bit more resilient. So I think like Arash said, it's very difficult for someone to hand a program over and say, here, do 5 sets of 10 here. Well, what does that mean? I don't even know what it means. Well, you're going at 80% intensity? Are you treating it like we just treated that pendulum leg press today? Because I was done at 6 reps. Every force 4 reps. So it's a little bit of a different intensity, and I think that's one area that a lot of you aren't thinking about.
Yeah. I think crush the body part and give it time to rest.
Yes.
I like that. You don't train to failure on every single exercise and every single set,
right?
Because then you're just going to annihilate your central nervous system. You're just going to be exhausted. But I don't believe on training more frequency and more often on smaller body parts like arms and calves.
I don't.
Can you come in and hit your calves every single day? Yeah, sure. And if you don't have big calves and you didn't train your calves before, will they grow? Absolutely. But the biggest I got my calves, and I did not have big calves genetically, I trained them twice a week, 2 exercises, max 3, but I didn't do 3 both times. Maybe I did 3 once.
Someone asked me about abs the other day. They're like, only 2 movements? I was like, Arash and I messaged each other. We had trouble sitting up out of bed.
I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days.
2 movements.
We did
hanging knee raises.
Yeah.
5 sets of 15.
Yeah.
And we did 5 sets of 15 on the kneeling cable crunch.
Yeah.
Done.
But proper form.
Proper form.
It was hard.
And we went heavy on the cable crunches. So another thing is I don't really treat my abs any differently than I would treat my arms or my chest. We take a minimalistic approach when it comes to the amount of exercises. Our program doesn't need to look like a Chinese menu where there's 15 exercises, and a lot of influencers do that. They want programs to look sexy, so they're giving 6 or 7 ab movements. Hit it with a high level of intensity and quality, get in and get out, let it repair, let it recover. Today for our legs, I mean, by the time we got through the first 2 movements, everything else was like the icing on the cake.
Absolutely.
It was just like, all right, now let's just isolate. I can't walk. It was like, I'm done.
So guys, don't follow a routine because I'm doing it. Don't follow a routine because Joe Schmo's doing it. Take the information I give you, take my routine. In my app, I have a couple different programs. I have my own daily workouts.
It's quite good.
You can thank you. There's a ton of info out there on there. Nutrition, there's private YouTube videos for only the guys on my app that I answer questions about nutrition and training. And also you can ask me questions directly. You DM me, I send you guys answers, all that stuff. But take a look at my programs, take a look at my workouts, follow along, I'll answer your questions. But when it comes to the specifics of making your own split, if you're gonna do that and you wanna grow your legs or grow your arms or take more rest here or work around an injury, you have to sit down with a pen and paper, you have to be realistic, you have to make sure your nutrition's on point and plan your routine and your rest days around your weak points and your strong points. What works for everybody else isn't necessarily gonna work for you. What I give you guys on my training split, follow my advice with nutrition, hydration, and rest, and it'll work, I promise you. I've been training for a long time. The splits and programs I put in my app are over 2 decades of experience and routines that I've done myself. So there's more complicated stuff that I'll give my clients, more in-depth, complicated routines for you if you want to grow your chest, him if he wants to grow his legs. That's more personalized. But for the most part, the meat and bones of it, like what we did today and what's on my app, will really get you bigger and stronger in the shortest period of time. You don't want to overcomplicate things. You want to keep it simple, basic, and to the point. Anything else to add?
Yeah, for half-naked pictures of Arash, go to his OnlyFans page. It's perfect. For dating advice, you can just comment to Arash below, and it was pretty impressive on kissing that beautiful brunette.
Oh, thank you.
Dark hair woman stuff.
No OnlyFans page.
No OnlyFans page. No, we're not there.
What do you guys think about OnlyFans? I hear a lot of.
Well, I'm hearing now that it's not all porn, and I'm hearing now that like the 7 of the 10 top influencers are actually normal people.
Well, I know who's telling you that.
Yes.
And I'm hearing it from the same. He's been telling. We have a mutual friend here.
I can't do it.
He's friends with the owner of the creator of OnlyFans, and he's been telling me for like a year and a half. He's like, it's not just for sexy naked girls. It's like regular people doing it, but for content for their audience. That's totally fine for me. It's just that stigma of OnlyFans. Like, what would you guys think? Comment below if I made an OnlyFans. What would you think of me? What would you think is on the OnlyFans, and would you sign up? I'm curious about that. I personally been hesitant. I wouldn't. I don't know. It's just weird. Maybe one day we'll do it.
I'm very hungry right now. It's time to get some food.
All right, so it's a wrap. Next time we will answer more of your questions. Comment below what you want to hear from me and Don. His page is on the
thank you.
His YouTube and Instagram is going to be below. Check him out. Send him some love, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.